So now we're going to get into the MVC stuff. What is MVC?
Models, views, and controllers.
Model view controller, right. So you should, boom, just be able to rattle that off, right? Model view controller. So what does that mean? What is MVC? When I say MVC is model view controller, so what? What is that? You're just saying words. What is that?
Like how to sort your files.
Yeah, it's a design pattern, right? MVC is sort of the idea that we have a controller that controls. The controller gets the routes or gets the traffic and decides what to do, right? So it kind of coordinates between the view and the model. The model's the data, the view is our HTML, right, what the user sees. So the controller basically gets web requests, accesses data from the model, and then displays it to the view, right? So the controller is just sort of the charioteer, right? So what we're going to do is we're basically going to divide our model. Well, I shouldn't say that. We're going to separate the different functionality into different compartments. So we're going to have, in addition to our controllers, we are going to have repositories. Okay, so we're going to have controllers, repositories, services, okay, and models. Okay. So this is the idea of separation of concerns, right? We want to have our code that's responsible for a certain aspect of the operation in one file. We want to have another file that separates another aspect. So we want to divide things up. That way it's loosely coupled, right? It's, if we want to make a change to something, it shouldn't break everything else, okay? So the controller controls, the model's responsible for data. The repository is what's going to handle the CRUD. Okay, so the repository is basically going to be where we create, read, update, and delete. Okay. So I'm going to make in here a stuff repository.java. Okay. I'm going to leave it as a class for right now. Ultimately, it's going to be an interface. Okay, but for right now, I just want to demonstrate kind of on a simple level what the repository does. And I want to drive this home that the repository is responsible for CRUD. Okay, so anytime we're creating, reading, updating, deleting, we're going to handle that in the repository. In the repository, sorry. Okay, so let's say that I have a item, private array list. And I'm just going to keep a list of all my stuff. So this is going to be an array list of stuff. I'm going to call it my stuff. And I'm going to say new array list. Okay. So it doesn't know what stuff is, so I need to import stuff. And if you hit, there went last time, probably not gonna, I'll just import it. So it gives me the, does it not see my stuff? Oh, I don't have stuff yet. Duh. Okay, so the repository is gonna handle the CRUD. Where do we store our data? What is responsible for like if I want to keep track of my car, my computer, all that stuff, what do I need?
Session?
Not session. So I want to store this. I want basically there to be a object that's going to be my stuff. That's going to represent my stuff. So an object comes from a class, right? So I'm going to come in here, make my model, which is just going to be stuff.java. Okay. And I'm going to have my stuff's going to have properties. So I'm going to say private string. I made it title. And then I have private string type. Okay. So my stuff has a title and a type. This going back to my form here, right? I did title. All I did was title and type. Okay. So I want to make this into a object that Spring Boot can use to manage my data. So what do I need to add so that Spring Boot can manage and keep track of my stuff? Okay, so the model, but what if I want to be able to come into my stuff repository, let me save this. And now I can import my stuff. There we go. So I want to be able to say stuff car equals new stuff. And I want to be able to say car, cool car, right? So I have a car and it's a cool car. It's not, but I want to be able to do this. What do I need to do in stuff to make that happen?
It's a constructor.
Yeah, I need a constructor. So for Spring Boot to be able to use this class to manage my data, it's got to be a bean, right? And in order for it to be a bean, it has to be a POJO. And does you guys remember what POJO is?
Plain old Java.
Plain old Java object, right? So to be a POJO, we need a empty constructor. We need a
Getters and setters.
So we need a constructor with all the fields. And we need getters and setters. Okay. So now this is a object that Spring Boot can use to keep track of my stuff. So now that I'm in here, this should go away. Yeah. So now I can make some stuff, right? So I have a car and I have a computer. That's basically all I got. I'm a married man. I'm not allowed to have possessions. So computer, there we go. Okay, so now I have 2 items of stuff. I want to add it to my stuff array list. So I want to keep my list, my stuff in a location. Let's say it's my garage. How do I add these 2 stuff items to the my stuff list, array list?
Add.
So my stuff.add. So I need to do this. Okay. Now it should work. My stuff dot, there we go, add. So I'm going to add my car. And I'm going to add my computer. Okay. Oops, no. Launched the wrong one. Sorry about that. Okay, sorry, launch the wrong poll. Back. Status check is what I want. There we go. Okay, any questions so far? Okay, yeah, that's what I was worried about. Okay, so I don't want to single anybody out. I don't want to, so I want these to be anonymous, but I see somebody who's totally lost, which is what I was afraid of. So any questions like so far that about what I've done?
Got a quick question on like line 13. Like, so you can just create like a curly braces anywhere?
Yeah, so that's what's called an initializer block. You can just, if you want code to run, so it was giving me errors because I didn't have a static void main, right? I was trying to call functions or methods. So if you can just want code to run, you can use an initializer block. That's what this is. Okay, any other questions? Okay. All right. So whoever doesn't know what I'm talking about, I'm hopefully it'll get more clear as I go forward. Okay. What I'm trying to emphasize though is that the repository, this is the new part, right? This is the new stuff you've never seen before. So I feel like students are always like, what the heck is a repository? And really it's simple. It's just that's where the data lives, right? That's what's going to handle CRUD. That's where we're going to be able to create, read, update, and delete. Okay. So I want to be able to access my stuff. So how do I sit but my stuff is private. So how do I let other pieces of code, other like say my controller, how do I give my controller access to my stuff?
Getter, setter.
Getter and setter, exactly. So I'm going to do this a little different. Hopefully it'll be more like akin to what you're used to. So I'm going to say public, and I'm just going to return my stuff. So I'm going to say public. It's going to be an array list of stuff. I'm going to call this get all. And it is going to return my stuff. Okay. So all I'm going to, now this, I have this method that's going to be able to give me my stuff, which is my car and my computer. Okay. Now, in my controller, I want to be able to get the stuff because I want to display it on my page, right? I want to be able to display, and the index.jsp, I want to display my stuff. Okay, so I'm going to go into my controller. Stuff controller, and I want to be able to, in here, I want to be able to get my stuff, right? So how do I access this method?
Stuff or stuff controller dot something. Oh wait, no, that's stuff repository.
There you go. So I'm going to make it, I got to do my dependency injection, right? I got to say stuff control, no, I'm sorry, stuff repository. And I'm just going to call it, I'm just going to call it stuff repository equals new stuff repository. Okay. Now I can, in here, my index, I can say I want a list. No, I'm sorry. Do array list. An array list of stuff. Call it stuff. Equals, and then I'm going to invoke this method, which is going to give me an array list of all my stuff. Okay, so let's do the imports here. Try it over here. There we go. So now I have my instance of stuff repository dot get all. Okay, so now let's just S out my stuff. Okay, so if I go back to my browser, let me make sure my server's still running. Yep. So if I refresh this, here is my array list of all my stuff. Okay. So how do I now get this array list of stuff to where I can display it in index.jsp? How do we, what's the basket we put stuff in when we want to send it from the controller to the front end, to the view?
Session.
Not session. Remember we talked about model?
Model.
So model, again, it's confusing that they call it model, but it is what it is. So just think of model as the basket. If we want to send stuff from our controller to our view, we have to use this basket. Okay, just think of it as the rules, right? Now what I do is say model.add attribute. I'm going to call it stuff, and I'm going to send in my stuff variable. Okay. Now in index.jsp, I should have access to the stuff, my stuff. Okay, so I'm just gonna leave the form there for now. And let's just do a p tag and let's just make sure it's working. Control $curlies stuff. And there's my stuff. Okay. Okay. Okay, so now nobody has no idea what I'm talking about, but only 2 people responded. So how you guys doing? Okay, cool. Sweet. And it's okay if you have no idea what I'm talking about. I mean, it's not okay that you get you know what I'm saying. If you're lost, please tell me. Please speak up. Okay. Now that I have my stuff, how do I loop through all my stuff in my JSP page?
See something.
Yeah, see something, right? So it's C colon for each. And there's I always forget these. It's var, right? Var equals whatever our variable of iteration is. So I'm going to call this, stuff was probably a bad choice. Let's say item. And I don't like item. Thing. And then this is items. And what do I put here?
Stuff, right?
Mm-hmm. That's my stuff. So that's where my array of items is going to be. So now if I move this down.
Hold up.
Yep.
Sorry.
No.
So items, that doesn't have to be value. Maybe
It might be value. I'm blanking on the
can't
C out
remember either.
on the for each. Is it var and items? Am I wrong?
I'm not sure. I'm gonna look it
Okay,
up
let's
real
check.
quick.
Let's look.
I remember it was items.
Where is
Bar
it?
and items.
Var and
It is
items, right?
items.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So the var is our variable of iteration. So if I come down here and say thing, that's going to put a list of all my things. Okay. So the C for each, again, variable of iteration. I could call this anything. I could call it watermelon. And then items is stuff, right? Oh, money hugs. I forgot about that. Yeah. They call these money hugs. And I've also heard them called spicy brackets. I don't know why that yeah. You guys called them spicy brackets, right? All right. Never mind. I'm forgetting. So if I want to access the properties on my thing now, how do I access my title and I forget what else I did. Title and type.
Thing dot title
Thing dot title. You got it.
and thing dot.
Yep. So there's my car. And I'm going to make these. No, it doesn't matter. Just make it another paragraph tag.
And then I think you said it earlier, but why no C out on the
Because I'm being
people?
lazy. I'm sorry. Let me do it right. So value equals money hugs. And this will be thing dot title. Just make sure it still works. Cool. Now I could probably do them on the same line. C colon out. Value equals money hugs thing dot type. Cool. So now I have my car that's a cool car and my computer that's a cool car too for some reason. I don't know what I was thinking. Okay. Makes sense? Any questions?